Hey everyone, Creatively Cara here, and my channel is all about taking you along on my creative journey with me. Today I'll be recreating some of Amanda Rach Lee's doodles for when you're bored. Let's be real here though, I have not been bored since being in quarantine because I'm working full-time with 2 kids. It's been fun. With that being said though, I have been trying to explore my creative side a little bit more since being at home more with the kids to relieve some of my stress. So I really am super thankful for Amanda Rach Lee's doodle ideas because it was so much fun to create these. I will link to Amanda's channel down below. She's kind of the top dog for all of the bullet journal and creative things. This video will be in collaboration with Claudia Joseph. She is my friend here on YouTube, and she also creates some amazing bullet journal and creative videos, so be sure to check out her video as well. I will link to her channel down below. As a little special bonus towards the end of this video, Claudia and I actually did Amanda Rach Lee's 10th doodle idea together. And that was the whole point of the 10th doodle. Basically, it's the one where you start the doodle, someone else adds to it, and then more people just keep adding to it. So Amanda started the doodle with kind of this blank canvas with a little character. So then I did half and Claudia did the other half. And we did this on our iPad. So you'll be able to see a really cool time lapse at the end of this video of our creations together. Stay tuned. The first doodle that I will be making is my name with kind of some doodles on the inside, and I really loved this one when I saw Amanda do it, and it's so beautiful how it ends up turning out in the end. Now my name is only 4 letters long, so I decided to make my letters really big, and this seriously took me so long to do. But on the upside, it was very relaxing to make, and I'm super happy that I went through with it. Now, my brain is not super good at coming up with what kind of things to doodle still, so I do have my Pinterest board out on my iPad as a reference for some doodles to include here. So if you're kind of like me and still need some assistance in getting some inspiration for what doodles to make, I will link to my Botanical Doodles Pinterest board down below in case you want to check that out. This doodle took me so long that Milo kept popping up and crawling on top of my journal multiple times because I think this probably took me in total an hour and a half to do, no joke. But yeah, you can see here that it looks super beautiful. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I feel like I may end up recreating this for maybe my daughters or something so that I can frame it. I think that would be really cool to hang up on the wall. And with my doodles, I really love using a felt tip pen. So right now I'm using the Pigma Sakura Micron, and I really like that one, but I also use my Papermate Flare. The next doodle is going to be Zentangling. Now, I absolutely love Zentangling. I've done it many, many times. And basically all it is creating a pattern and then repeating that pattern in a designated space. So as you can see, I've kind of drawn out some lines here, and that created little spaces where then I'm going to put patterns inside of them, and each space will be different. So again, I have a lot of these kind of in my brain already because I've been Zentangling for a little while now, but I still use Pinterest for inspiration on this, so I will link to that board as well down below in case you want to check out some more Zentangling stuff. But you can do so many different patterns. Honestly, your lines don't need to be straight. It does not need to be perfect. Usually it looks super cool even when you don't have super straight lines. So yeah, I'm using some Staedtler fine liners here, and honestly, these ones aren't my favorite. I feel like Faber-Castell work really well, or the Sakura pen set works really well, but it's nice to have varying sizes, having kind of some really, really fine lines and then also those thicker, bolder lines to fill in spaces like these, because if you use a fine one, it takes forever. Now, I actually had a phase last year where I would create Zentangles based on my theme in my bullet journal. So I have quite a few of those videos up on my YouTube already. I will link to the playlist down below, but it's super fun and relaxing even just to watch. My favorite one, I actually did not make a YouTube video on it, but I'll share a picture here. And it was basically a tree with patterns all around it. It looked so cool. So I'm hoping to maybe recreate that as well as something that I can frame down the road. The next doodle idea that I'll be making is creating little like characters out of inanimate objects that you have around your house. So my daughter Zoe has a ceramic Z in her room, and I thought that would be really like fun to use. Now, the challenge was really what did I do with it, because I didn't know how to like where to put the face exactly. So I thought about the Z, and then zebra came to my head. So I ended up turning this one into kind of a zebra character, and I gave it some ears and a little face kind of at the tip of the Z, and I think that that ended up turning out pretty good. The other character I drew was my new aloe plant. Honestly, once I started coloring this in with the green, it didn't end up looking like aloe necessarily. I just kind of made it green. Here I made space for Milo to sit down with me, and yeah, he just was like, nah, not gonna sit. So, you know, sometimes that happens. But yeah, I really love the aloe plant one. That one looks super cute, and adding the arms in with it just added so much. The next one I wanted to do was my tea kettle. It's a pretty basic tea kettle, but it was really fun with this one. As I started drawing it out, I realized when I got to the face that I wanted to make her mouth be open, and I did turn her into a female, but I wanted to make her mouth open because tea kettles always like scream or yell or whatever when they start boiling, so I thought that that would add some character to it. Then after I drew everything out, I just went back in with my Crayola Super Tip markers to add some color. I just made my pot here gray because the pot I have on my desk is gray. I picked the wrong gray. I always pick the wrong one. This Crayola Super Tip is more of a bluish gray, and the cap does not indicate that very well, so it didn't quite turn out to be the one I wanted, but that's okay. Now for my shading on this one, I just kind of lightly went in with the light green, and then I went back in over with a darker green to kind of fill in some of those spaces, and it just gave it a little interesting texture. Again, this is why it does not quite look like an aloe plant. And then on my tea kettle, I just gave her some rosy cheeks and blue eyes and add a little bit of gray into it because on my tea kettle is actually white, and then it has like some silver pieces to it. But yeah, that is the third doodle I made, and I really loved Amanda's version of this too. She made some really cute things. The next doodle is contour drawing. You do line drawing without like lifting up the pen. And I actually had to look up some inspiration on this one. I found a butterfly online, and I thought that one would be perfect because it seemed fairly easy to replicate. So I really like that one, but I lost my footage here. And then this other one I wanted to try out was basically kind of this arm and hand with a wine glass. Well, yeah, I started drawing it, and then I didn't even get to do the wine glass, and one finger shorter than the rest. So yeah, that one didn't quite turn out how I wanted it to. Another added level of difficulty to this that Amanda decided to do was blind contour drawing. So basically that means, again, same thing, but this time you don't look at what you're drawing on the paper. You look at the object that you're drawing. So I decided to do my Nintendo Switch, and I drew this all without looking at it, and yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell what it is, but it's not great. So I decided that I would go back through and recreate it, but looking at what I was drawing this time around so that I could hopefully make it look a little better. And honestly, I think that the second time around, it did turn out more how I wanted it to. But I think that this is definitely one of those techniques that I need to keep practicing, and I know that this is one that they often use in like art school and stuff like that. So I hope to maybe continue doing some of these down the road. Next up we have, I call this one kind of this blackout watercolor, and basically you start with the watercolor in the background, and I kind of went with some blues, pinks and purple, and then after I was done, spread out my heat gun to dry it a little bit and spread out the paint. And then my paper was still a little damp when I went back in. Now you could wait till it's fully dry and go over with just a black marker, but the pen that I'm using is still kind of this like watercolor marker. So I wanted the paper to still be a little bit damp, and I drew out some clouds along with some tulips because my theme for May in my bullet journal is tulips. So I thought that would be perfect. And then I just kind of went around and added some black to it, and then took a paintbrush and added some more water and kind of spread that around. Because if I had just used the black pen that I was using, it just probably would have been really, really dark. So I really like the effect that this ended up giving off, because then once it dried, you could actually kind of still see some of the color in the background behind the black. So I don't know, I kind of like that, even though maybe that wasn't the full intent. Last but not least, we have the time lapse of the doodle that Claudia did and I did together along with Amanda Rach Lee. I really love how this ended up turning out. We both kind of took similar but different approaches. She still did sort of this landscape approach along with mine, but I added a couple characters in mine. I added myself, and then later on you'll see my cat at the bottom as well. And I love the detail in hers though, with the constellations in the sky and really just the blending she did with the waves. That's really cool. We both use Procreate for this, and I really, really love Procreate. I'm trying to get more into digital art, and it's part of the reason why I have also switched to digital bullet journaling. I'm really excited to continue practicing using digital art and kind of see where things go with that. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my video today. If you liked what you saw, make sure you hit that like button down below, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. And don't forget to ring that bell to be notified of when my next video is posted. Until next time, bye-bye!